Your second point, which is really surprising for everybody, you say that China's economic power is currently peaking. It's reaching its peak. Most people think China is about to take over the world, but you're saying it's peaking, or if not already peaked. Look at that. China's contribution to global growth, how much is falling since 2019? It went up a little bit and down again. So that's amazing, Ruchir.
Yeah, there are a variety of reasons as to why that's happening. It goes back to the earlier point about demographics, that here is the shocking thing, which is that from next year onwards, China's overall population is likely to start shrinking. Not just the labor force, which has been shrinking, but China's overall population is likely to start shrinking from next year.
Not just the growth rate, you mean in absolute terms, the number of people will go down in China?
Yes.
Wow.
And that is not something which anyone expected, even I'd say 3 to 4 years ago. So huge change. So in China's case, the entire growth will have to come from productivity, as its labor force has been shrinking, and now even its overall population is set to shrink from next year. So this is one of the very important reasons as to why I think that China's contribution to global growth is likely to decline. And the other thing has to do with debt, that China has been relying on so much debt to grow very rapidly over the last few years. And now that its debt levels are so high, its policymakers are very worried. They're keen to take China off that drug of taking on more and more debt, and it's already complicating China's economic growth story. So yeah, this combination of too much debt, change in demographics, these are all likely to lead to a decline in China's growth rates far beyond what I think the consensus expects currently.
Another very surprising thing, Ruchir, again, real eye-opener. Everybody thought China-India trade is growing up by billions of dollars and, accelerating. But in fact, the China's trade with India is dropping by 0.4%, which is a lot, while it's going up with Mexico, Russia, Brazil, Taiwan. It's actually trade with India is falling.
Yeah, so this was happening even as China's economic might was increasing over the last decade. These are decadal figures. But I think that generally the point I'm making here is that China's, obviously a very large economy, will remain very important, but the margin, its influence in economic terms is likely to decline. And with India also, that trend is likely to be accelerated in the years ahead.